Hello, my name's Miles and I work for a company called Asset Projects who do construction work in the aged care sector. The story I'm about to tell you is of customer engagement. It occurred last year while we were doing some work at an aged care facility. There were two residence rooms that needed their bathrooms demolished and replaced because of some underground leaking. The work had been going on for a while before I was asked to go on site to help liaise between the village manager, the contractors and the residents. The works have been going on for quite some time and there was already some delays. The residents weren't happy because things were taking too long and the works were occurring in where they were living, so they had nowhere else to go, so they could only use the bathroom at certain times of the day. So when I arrived, there was quite a lot of discontent on site. The contractors we were using were treating the place like a construction site, where in fact this is where people were living. So it's a shared community with about 12 different units. So my role was really to ensure that the contractors got back on track and were doing what they were supposed to be doing, updating the village manager and the residents. This took quite a lot of time and effort, but it paid off in the end because I have relationships now with the residents and I still see them every now and again to catch up over a cup of coffee to see how they're going. But to get from that point to this point was quite an effort because they weren't happy with the contractors, so we had to pull them into line, ensure that they did very basic things like cover the residents' furnishings, taking their boots off, and just being very respectful of where they were living. And I would sit down with the residents each day or every couple of days and give them an update on the works and when things were going to occur. And because they had to go out and go to shops or doctors or hairdressing appointments, I was instructed to let the contractors in, ensure that they did the work, but then left the place in a nice, tidy, reasonable state. One of the residents had a small dog at the time, and so she was training the puppy, and this was also upsetting the puppy because of all the workmen coming in. So I would sit in there with her and pat the dog and make sure that the tiles were covered, and she really appreciated that. And I would tell the resident, look, if you want to go for a walk now, this would be a good time because they're going to do some noisy works. So I just developed that relationship with the residents over a few weeks. And on the other side, I was updating the village manager who was getting complaints from the residents, but I sort of filled the gap. So I became like a buffer between the resident and the village manager, which made the village manager happy because she wasn't hearing as many complaints. In fact, I was letting her know how things were going. So it's really about putting the time into people and showing that you care and being proud of the job that you want to do and not being scared to say to the contractors, look, you're not doing the right thing, we need to do better, we're all in this together as one team. So that's just a little story about customer engagement. I hope you found it useful and thank you very much.